Hi everyone, my name is Nate. I am a product designer at Cloth and Paper, and today I'm sharing with you guys the Commonplace notebook set. So this is the Commonplace notebook set. Everything is bundled in this saffron colored rubber band. We really love the pop of color here. We love the way that the three notebooks layer together with lots of different materials and textures. It consists of 3 different notebooks, all of different bindings. And the goal of this set is to celebrate the many uses of a notebook and support all of your planner needs in this one bundle. So if we take the top band off, we can reveal our 3 different notebooks. The first notebook is in size Pocket Plus. It's a collection of monthly overview cards for big picture planning, and it's bound by a bungee cord. The second notebook is in size A5. It's a perfect bound notebook with a transparent cover, and it's meant for your daily tasks. Inside has an undated daily layout that repeats 365 times. And then the last notebook is in size HB Classic. It has a frosted plastic cover, spiral binding, and includes an open-ended graph layout that repeats throughout. So in the first Pocket Plus notebook, it can be used in multiple ways. So at first glance, each spread has an area to mark and date a calendar overview, and on the right side there are lines to expand upon those marked dates, or on the right side there's room to mark important dates, jot notes, or expand upon the calendar on the left. But these cards can actually be pulled out, so you'll have a month on each side. I would suggest using it this way. By pulling the cards out, it'll be easier to plan with, and these cards are nicely fitted to your folio pockets and can be a great complement to your undated daily planner. I have an example demo of a card that I have already filled out. So at the top, you have a list of months, and you can circle the current month, and then in the open boxes, you can add your dates and use our accessories to mark specific dates that you would like to mark. At the bottom, I've listed a key for the important dates that I've marked, and then I'm using this other notes column to write down general notes or goals. When you're done, you can keep the cards as just a complement to your current notebooks, or you can put it back into its bungee so it's all in one place. Here's the second notebook in size A5. It has an undated daily interior. On the outside, it's covered by a transparent plastic cover, which is completely removable. Its natural cover has an eggshell texture, and it has a perfect bound exposed stitching bind. There are 365 pages for all 365 days that you'll be planning for. The inside starts with an intro page, and then begins to repeat a single page undated daily layout throughout. What's great about the open stitch binding is that the notebook actually lays flat no matter where you are in your year. That makes it a lot easier to plan on both sides of the spread. The purpose of this layout is to give you the ability to customize to your needs of your specific day. I have a couple examples that I have mocked up for my day. So on each side of the spread, I've shown 2 different ways that you can use the various columns. So at the top left for each spread, there's an area to place the date, and then throughout that first row, you can use that for general notes, memos. So in this first example on the left, I'm actually utilizing the most space for this time block strip in the center. I've divided each side of the time block between work and home events, and that just gives me extra space to expand upon these small events. For example, under the work column, I've added product huddle at 11 a.m. and then underneath that, I have the extra room to put the various things I would like to discuss with the team in that huddle. On the very left side, I've used this column space to add my general priorities. This is the first thing that I write down at the beginning of my day, so I like that it's at the very top. And again, these various smaller columns on each side can be used to check off these tasks, number tasks, and I've done so with the priorities on the left. At the very bottom, I've used all of the columns together to kind of expand upon a task list that I think needs a little bit extra detail. So the design team is currently making packaging updates to Cloth and Paper's catalog. So I've titled it in the first column, and I like that there's a lot of empty space around the title so that it's very clear to me what all the other information is about. And then in the far left, narrow column, I've numbered the various products that we are making packaging updates to, and so the list is right beside that. And then in the far right, wider column, I've listed just a quick memo of what the main goal is of changing that specific product. Or in the far right column, I've listed what the change is of that specific product on the left. And I still have this final narrow column to check off each task as I'm going through it. You don't have to use all of these columns together like this. You can divide them into various task lists. Essentially, you have 3 task lists with 3 wide columns and 3 narrow columns. You can also number a task list on one side and then check it off on the other. Or you can completely ignore the column lines and just use this general space for notes. Most of these column lines are tinted or dotted, so it's easy for you to write your notes and let your ink take most of the visual priority in the layout. On the right side, I've done this a little bit differently. Instead of focusing all of the extra space on time blocking, I'm focusing this space on memos and priorities. So I still have my date at the top left. I'm still using this top space to title what I'm doing below, but I'm limiting my schedule only to the far right and checking off my events as I'm going through my day. In the middle column, I've added my priorities, and I'm using that left side narrow column to star the priorities that I think are most important. And then I'm using this far left space to write memos, notes, or things that I might want to add last minute throughout the day. At the bottom, I'm utilizing the entire space again with one task list. So in this example, I have a grocery list. I've numbered the amount of items that I need. I've written the items. I'm using this second narrow column to write the dollar amount symbol, and then I can fill that out as I go, check off the items that I've purchased, and then write the total at the bottom. So again, completely open-ended layout for whatever you need. It's very easy to divide the spaces, and it works really well with our accessories. In this top right, the page pins that we're offering in this month's sub box and that we have in our shop are fitted perfectly to that far right column. You can also use sticky notes that fit perfectly in the bottom section and within 2 columns. So if you feel like you have a lot of lines and task lists on your page and you really need just a little bit of a visual pop, then this is really great for that, especially if you don't want to use all of these columns and you just need open space in your layout. So just a better way to divide the sections. With a notebook that is this thick with this many pages, you might feel like it needs a little bit of structure so that you can easily navigate your past days and turn the page to the current day that you're working on. So I think that our sticker dividers would work really well for this. And these are great for any notebook that you have that has perfect binding and you're unable to put a full divider inside. So this specific product has your 12 months. And as I'm working through each month in my planner, I would go in and add the tab of the current month that I'm working on. What's great about this size as well is that it actually fits in our folios. And I think I'm going to keep the plastic cover on as I slide it in because I just like the color against the folio texture. I really like the green on green look in this example, so I'm going to keep that top protective layer on the notebook as I slide it in. And then if you want to keep those monthly overviews handy, then they actually fit perfectly in the folio pockets. So the final notebook in HP Classic is spiral bound. It has a frosted front and back clear cover. On the front side, we have some decorative print elements, and then there's also a thick white cardstock on the front and back as well to serve as a dashboard. This design was actually inspired by the interior of an art gallery, and in the text, we've listed the various reasons that you might want to use an open-ended planner, and we would like to inspire you to organize your planner in a sort of directory, the way that an art gallery would organize its space. Again, we start with an intro page, and then we have a repeating empty layout. At the top, there's a space for you to put your topic and then your date. And even though it repeats on each page, I think that you could use your pages, you could use multiple spreads for one subject. It's really an open-ended place for you to do anything that you want. I've mocked up a spread of this already. So at the top here, I have 2025 sub-box planning, and then I've used photo corners to pin the what's inside cards of our sub-boxes that we have released so far. So we really want this to be a place for you to collect those everyday ideas, those everyday notes and thoughts that support the other two notebooks in your planner. On the right side, I've added a page pin just to hold this one page. You know, all three notebooks have the same cream colored off-white interior. They all have a white cover. So even though they're different bindings, we still wanted this set to feel cohesive. They all cover a different aspect of your planning life, and I think that they complement each other very well. So that's a deep dive into the Commonplace notebook set, only found in our main intention box. If you like this video, leave us a like or a comment below. Subscribe to our channel or follow us on social media for more inside looks. Thanks for watching.